Liverpool versus AC Milan. This is your player ratings. Let's get into this. Hard to fault anyone really last night. A couple of bad goals to give away before half time, but apart from that, it was such a dominant performance. Let's get into this. Alisson Becker, a 6. He was totally exposed really for the 2 goals, which was very unfortunate really, but rarely had a lot to do, couple of saves and a couple of, he came out for a really, really good save there where the ball broke through in the second half and pushed it away for a throw in and stuff like that. Was down tight a ball that came across the 6 yard box as well, but in reality had very little to do all night. Was so dominant, every ball that was sent into the box he gathered and recovered. So really, just a solid performance from him really, not a whole lot I think he could do for the 2 goals. Let's get on to Trent. Gave Trent a 7 last night. Unbelievable energy, absolutely pushing and raiding down that right hand side, intertwining play between himself, Hendo and Mo Salah all the time, always looking to push forward, always holding offensive. Very unlucky that the goal resulted in an OG off Tomori because his movement into the box was unbelievable for the goal. The only thing that would be a little bit worrying is that both goals originated from his side that we gave away, you know what I mean? But then we know at times, his defensive skills don't always match his offensive skills. At times in defense, he's kind of a little bit standoffish and stuff like that, positional wise and stuff like that. But yeah, we gave him a 7. He put in a serious shift last night and was involved in a lot of the forward play and the offensive play through Liverpool. Joel Matip got a 6, absolutely composed. This guy's, from hanging around with Virgil van Dijk, he's as calm as you like, as the saying goes. Never looked in trouble, always pushing forward, always eyeing a pass to go forward, and absolutely solid after the interfill, very unlucky as well. Didn't cut out that pass. He could have cut out that pass as well for that goal. But you know what I mean, doesn't do a whole lot wrong. Just always solid, and great to see him getting a run in the team and being injury free is absolutely brilliant, you know what I mean. Next up, Joe Gomez coming into the side for the first time this season, back after a long layoff with that horrific injury. Gave him a 6. Seemed a little bit nervy at the start. I know Robbo was talking to him a couple of times about it in terms of his positional play at times and stuff like that. Great to see Robbo out there. Like, he's a young lad, but he's such a leader. Like, you know what I mean? Unless you're actually at the games, you don't actually see the work he's doing off the ball in talking to players and stuff like that. And obviously that's come from Van Dijk as well. It's rubbed off from Van Dijk, so absolutely brilliant. But Robbo a couple of times kind of reminding him where his position was and his positional sense. But every ball that came into him, he was solid. Won everything, always looking for a nice ball into the midfield to Fabinho or Keita when they're available, or Jordan, always looking to pick a pass and stuff like that. The only thing I would say is, because he's been out of the team so long, there's this sort of play that we do where Salah's right on the edge of the defence, standing on the line, and he signals for a ball over the top, and there's loads of room. It's only when you're actually at the match that you realise how much room is there for Salah to operate in that corner. And that's why he signals for that ball, because with his pace and stuff like that, he can move onto that ball so easily. And I just thought that he signalled for it a number of times last night, and Joe didn't pick up at all. He just played the safer pass, either out to Robbo or back into Joel. And I think if he looked up, and I think more awareness once he's back in the side again on a regular basis, he will see that pass. And that pass has been electric for us in the past in terms of creating goals. Robbo, you have to give an 8 to Robbo. What you say about this guy? He absolutely blistered them on the left-hand side. Get them a torrid time, was always at it. He's just an absolute pest. And I think if you're coming up against an Andy Robertson, you better be bringing 90 minutes of energy, because the guy is an absolute dynamo. He just never stops moving, thinking, talking. His awareness, the overlapping, just constantly on the move all the time, and just always looking for something to do, always looking to wind someone up, always looking, his play last night was brilliant with Keita and stuff like that and all. It was unbelievable the way Keita just, came in and their play, these little flicks and 1-2s and the little back flicks and stuff like that. It was just electric to see it, it was absolutely brilliant. Fabinho, of course, is 7. This guy is just golden, isn't he, really? You see him there in the middle of the park. He just breaks up everything. And when you're there live at the game, you see the way teams break. And when they go into midfield, he just kills and shuts down that midfield straight away. Nothing gets by him. You know what I mean? I know at times he gives away fouls and stuff like that, but that's kind of his job, is to stop the play and close it down and stuff like that. but he was absolutely monstrous last night. I mean, that midfield in there for AC Milan, it's not a bad midfield, but boy God, did he make it look ordinary last night between himself, Jordan and Keita. They just those triangles and passage of plays and moving the ball around and stuff like that. They just ran Milan ragged, even in the tight spaces. So absolutely unbelievable from Fabinho last night. Jordan, you have to give an 8 to Jordan, don't you? The captain, he's just unbelievable. Um, just always puts in a solid performance, and boy, what a goal! Unbelievable. Showing the boys this is how it's done. When you get on the edge of the box, just absolutely bury it. Don't be trying that too stupid. Set the tempo in midfield. I mean, as he always does. Again, like Robbo, constantly talking, constantly, giving out advice, constantly ushering the team forward. You know what I mean? That whole wave and stuff like that. Just impressive all the time, you know what I mean? And when we were on top of the game, and he just moves around, again, you don't see this sometimes on TV, the amount of movement and the work that he puts in. 1 minute he's on the left-hand side, 1 minute he's on the right-hand side, but he's always moving to leave himself open, always looking for the ball. Even on throw-ins, he's always making those runs into those pockets where you can receive the ball and do that damage. Absolutely outstanding from the captain last night. Gave him an 8. Naby Keita, 7. Pressed very well. Love the way he drops that shoulder to go by players. It's just so impressive when you see it. Like he's just again like a little pest, that kind of way, and just impossible. I don't know. He tortured that guy last night in terms of that shoulder drop and stuff like that. Your man never picked up on it at all, and he did him every single time. And just simple passing of play, couple of little nice flicks and stuff like that. But again, just trying to open up things, kind of like that Thiago kind of way, but not kind of that range of passing, more shorter, tighter pockets and stuff like that. But was absolutely brilliant last night again. I think to a man they were all brilliant. This seems very consistent, but just so dominant for major passages of that play and that match last night, you know what I mean? Mo Salah, what do we say about Mo Salah? This guy just runs and runs and runs and looks up, and he's added this dimension to his game now that I look at, where it's not all about him finishing. Sometimes it's about him looking for another player and stuff like that, which is absolutely fantastic. He's constantly looking to put players in, even though most matches he gets his own goal as well, you know what I mean? But he's always looking. He was always looking last night when Mane came on to play Mane in. He was looking a couple of times last night to play Origi, and it's like he really wanted Origi to get a goal and stuff like that. Jota, there wasn't kind of that synergy last night between him and Jota at times. But constantly looking to look up and who we can play in and stuff like that. His passing and his play with Trent is outstanding. The understanding that both of them have is incredible. So give him a 7 last night. You probably could argue that you give him an 8. His work rate was unbelievable. And again, he was so disappointed when you see it, like getting subbed off, you know what I mean? He didn't want to get off the pitch. He was so hungry to get more and more at 3-2, Divock, I gave him a 7, I mean, I don't think he kind of connected right, I mean, it's his first game out there, you know what I mean, in terms of trying to go into that side and understanding. And sometimes he's misunderstood, and people go, yeah, he comes on and he plays and he disappoints and stuff like that. But I mean, if you're not getting a regular place in the team and you're not playing with that team and it's only training that you're falling back on, it's hard to get that real understanding in there. But I think last night he put himself about a little bit. I think he had a couple of good chances, some crosses and stuff like that, unlucky with a couple of headers. But put himself about out there, and like, I was disappointed to see him then getting injured and having to go off. And then Sadio comes on, and he's just an absolute ball of energy when he comes on. Jota, I gave a 6 to. I mean, he harassed, and he chased the play, and he put in a few tackles and all that kind of stuff. But I think we're at the level now where we expect a little bit more from Diogo Jota. And I think last night he was one of the players out there that I thought, there was probably more potential to his end product, you know what I mean? I think at times, he could have let fly, he could have had a go. There was times when it opened up for him and he tried to go by another player or move it across another player. Just have a go, just bang it, you know what I mean? You've nothing to lose, you know what I mean? You're an outstanding player, you're an outstanding finisher. Just do it, you know what I mean? And he worked hard, obviously, for that, to produce a sublime assist for Salah's equaliser, you know what I mean? So you can't unrate him on that, but I just thought it was like, he shifted down the middle once Origi departed, you know what I mean? And when he was down the middle, I think that's when it opened up a little bit more for him, you know what I mean? I just thought he could have delivered a little bit more. Sadio obviously came on the 63rd minute for Origi with an injury. Instantly became involved, a ball of energy, had a couple of chances, but sometimes it's perplexing to me that he just needs to take so many touches, tries so hard. It's like he's overthinking things at the moment. And I think if you see, like at the weekend, if he just lets fly and he just has a go, he'll get a lot more goals. I think he just needs to stop overthinking what he's trying to do and just go and do it. You know that you have everything to do it. You know what I mean? So, why dwell on it? Thiago came on in the 71st minute for Keita. I gave him a 6. Great reception from the crowd and stuff like that. Got stuck in straight away as only he does. His range of passing and his vision for the game is unbelievable. But of course, obviously tough coming into a game like this where, we're so dominant and stuff like that. It's easier to shine and stuff like that. But got a great reception from the Anfield crowd, which is fantastic. Curtis obviously came on for Jota in the 71st minute. First action of the season for the youngster, and he was like really eager to show, picks up the ball, cuts in from the left hand side, switches it across and has a fly. Very unlucky with the effort, of course, flew over into the stand, but you could see the boy again. I like the way he's so offensive in his thinking, that it's not like he's kind of the opposite to some of the guys in the team at the moment, where he just wants to pick up the ball, run at the fences, switch it, drop a shoulder, whatever it is, and have a go. And that will bear fruit for us throughout the season. There's no doubt Curtis Jones will play more, and there's no doubt he will pick up goals. I'd expect to see him heavily involved in the Norwich game next week in the Carabao Cup. Ox came on in the 84th minute for Salah. Very difficult to come on at that time in the game, you know what I mean? And especially when Salah's going off, you're coming on to replace Salah. So when the crowd sort of seeing Salah go off, they get a little bit down a little bit. Because obviously he's the Egyptian king there, isn't he? So Ox came on, got onto the ball a little bit busy. But again, I think he just tries to do too much. At one point on the right-hand side, he picked up the ball and tried to beat 3 or 4 players when he could just beat one player and lay it off and run into position. And I think he was just trying too hard. I think some of these players, when they're coming off the bench, maybe it's something Klopp can do with them, maybe to have a chat with them or do something in training. Tell them not to be trying too hard, to just go out there and play their game. They're trying too hard to impress the gaffer when they come on as a sub to get the opportunity, rather than playing the game that they know they can play. And I think that might be just a small point, for Ox. Just play your game. You're good enough. James Milner came on for Henderson in the 84th minute as only Jimmy comes on, a ball of energy, absolutely harassing the Milan players. Picks up his usual booking, just goes straight in, up bends a lad, lets him know that he's there. Hard to rate him, of course, because he was only on the pitch for 6 minutes and stuff like that. But you know what you're getting with James Milner. He's an absolute baller. And just gets stuck in, veteran at this stage, knows exactly where to be, knows exactly when a tackle has to go in, knows exactly when it's time to pick up a booking if there's danger. So absolutely fantastic from James Milner in that short space of time. Thanks for tuning in, of course. Like, share and subscribe. We are on YouTube, Dynamo Podcast Network. This has been your Shankly Sessions player ratings, Liverpool versus AC Milan. Brilliant game underneath the lights last night in the Champions League. Great to get the team off to a winning start. Top of the group, what more could we want? If you want to hit up the show, of course, you can drop your comments into the episode. Or you'll hit us up on the upper tier on Facebook and Instagram. Or you can hit us on Twitter at Sessions Shankly. Or you'll get us on audio. If you want audio version show, we're on Spotify, Podbean, iTunes. Anywhere you pick up audio version show, just search Dynamo Podcast Network. We're in there as part of the upper tier, the Shankly Sessions, your Liverpool podcast that we bring you each and every week. And we will talk to you again real soon.